We get this open here. There we go. Hello, everyone in line. How many people do we have online? That's it for now. Okay, so good evening, welcome everyone. July edition. It's only been like 2.5 weeks since the last one. 3 weeks.
Yeah. Feels like, yeah.
Yeah, it was.
It got moved out.
Yeah, it got moved out. So this came very quick.
Yes.
Snuck up on us. Yeah, so just normal. For those online, if you want to come off mute and talk, please feel free to comment on that. We can hear you in the room. Hopefully you can see us. Okay, so tonight's going to do in the news. We're then going to look at modern data tables. Tables aren't just for bosses. And in the modern toolbar, and then we're going to have a tech as well. And then we'll just open up for from in the news is actually quite quiet at the moment. I struggle to find new things coming in that we haven't already talked about. One of the things that is coming in is the model-driven forms that can leverage Copilot Studio. So this is going to leverage the agent API, so now you can start calling things directly from the topics within a Copilot Studio agent. You call that from the model-driven apps, or the model-driven forms, should I say. And also the response coming back, you can set the formatting on it. So you can start pre-populating, get the stuff into the forms and that. So this should help improve that whole experience. So you've got that integration between those agents coming in and the model-driven apps a lot more seamless, which is going to be really interesting to see.
Yes, model-driven apps make sense, but it's going to be database.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, it does. There's also been some big DLP announcements and changes in the platform. There is going to be the ability to block triggers now in DLP policies. So in the past, this was very hit and miss. So now there is a lot more focus on this. There is also real-time enforcement coming in. So at the time of a flow run, we'll be able to check and see if there's any policy violations and turn that flow off straight away. The other thing is that if you have a flow that gets disabled because it's out of policy scope, if you bring that flow back into the policy scope, under the policy changes, or you make changes in it, it will automatically be enabled as well. Other thing that's important to know, there is going to be website filtering for Power Automate Desktop as well, for desktop purposes. So you can go and choose what sites it is allowed to interact. Yeah, so this is so you can run the exactly. Because I mean, in the past, it didn't matter what website that it could browse, it could go in and do anything. You go with the capability of search 100%. Yeah. And then there's also been a lot of enhancements around the way policies are updated and pushed out through the platform. So now when you make policy changes, you'll see those being implemented very quickly. In the past, it could take a couple of hours. I've even seen it take a day or two sometimes for those to go through. Now we're going to be seeing it in a couple of minutes. That was the last big one that came through. Other one that was quite interesting that I came across. There is a new partnership between Upwork and the Microsoft Power Platform. So this is leveraging consulting. I mean, for those who know Upwork, it's gig work, the gig economy. So people can come in, work with the team, get qualified, and then also they put in that into connection with organizations to roll out these solutions. So if you are looking at breaking into the consulting space, the relationship with Upwork, I think that can help a lot to get you started inside there. And if you look at the economic impact, freelancers earned $1.5 trillion in 2020. So, and I think with all the changes in AI and everything that's coming in organizations, this gig economy is going to become a lot more important. A lot more smaller jobs, shorter time frames, project work coming in. So it's quite interesting to see.
We've actually got a silo called gig
economy. Nice. Other one, I just wanted to touch on the Dataverse MCP server. There we go. This is becoming a lot more easier to interact with Dataverse. Instead of you having to build out workflows and topics and all of that to get that data in or manipulate the data, You just add that MCP cert. And then you're using natural language and that to get the rest of it working. So it's really made it so much simpler to get things up and running once. Other interesting thing I've done is you now have the ability to build single page applications in Power Pages. This is quite interesting. It's using React. So you can use the AI powered tools. The CLI as well gives you the ability to export and import these, so it makes it very easy to manage. But you can still make sure you can bring in that security and scalability. It's really quite interesting.
Is there a cost difference with them?
I don't know.
Because Power Pages is expensive.
I would assume it's going to be the same. Because it's all handled by logins. Yeah. So I don't see that changing. But it does make the architecture a bit more interesting. That's a bit more responsive.
So is that available already, the XPR?
This is in preview at the moment. Yeah. So
Is it specific to specific?
It would probably be in the US environment for now. I want to check it out. I only came across this today, so I'll play around with it and see. But the problem is, especially in our market, is the cost associated.
Look, the cost looks wild every time you look at it. But I mean, if you go look what a proper web-based platform is going to cost you to run something like that, it's actually not a lot of money.
And we can do anything now US based.
Yeah, apparently, I heard there's a rumor on that.
Well, next today.
Yeah. Tomorrow they might.
No, we never know.
So you know what they're doing? They're following Microsoft.
Yes.
Licensing.
Absolutely. Yeah, so that's really interesting.
True.
Other one, the Power Platform or Power Pages Action Center is now generally available. So Action Center is a place where you can go in, get all of your alerts, any updated configuration issues or any problems. That's going to surface it directly inside. So it can give you a bit more control, a bit more visibility, and like I said, this is finally generally available. So you can go in and access all of this.
Here's an interesting.
Yeah.
You know the secure score.
Yes.
So is there an equivalent for the Power Platform in terms of a secure score?
No. But that's actually a good idea.
You got your recommendations in the admin center.
In the admin center, yeah, and if you deploy the COE templates,
Isn't there something available on the web where you can actually get a score? I can't recall the URL, but there was something, and then you run it and then it gives you a score. I just remember what the URL was.
Yeah, how safe is that?
I think I used it and it was quite
Really test your score.
Yeah.
it's a Microsoft tool.
You keep on.
It's just fine.
You know, like your especially for your enterprise.
yes,
Business applications have their own layer of security, their own layer of audit.
yeah,
Now, in 365, you've got the secure score, and the guys leverage that.
oh yes, yeah, that's fantastic because it lets you know what you need to do, what you need
And
visibility. So
yeah. So now this is an application. It's exposing certain data. It's exposing. So it would be good to have a like for like
yeah,
on the application.
Yeah, there's. I know why you're asking the question. I've spent a lot of time on it about 3-4 months ago, and I actually wrote them a document regarding it. But it's a procedure. You have to go into various areas.
Yeah.
It's one place to do it.
so the entries all contain within the graph and the logs.
Yeah.
So if you can ingest all of that, you should be able to get a good understanding of what your security posture looks like.
Through the COE, you can monitor
Yes.
everything. You can actually do your own, you leverage the data to do your own dashboard to present that. Yeah, you can do that.
But I don't think we've got the best practices and guidance. That's where secure score adds so much value. So it'll be interesting to see.
Just a question on the actions.
Yes.
You can action from here. You don't need to go somewhere else.
No, well,
Or is this just a?
this is just visibility. So it will say, okay, one of your websites doesn't have one.
The reason I was up there is take a quick action.
No, it's
That's
not.
what I'm saying.
No.
Does this?
No, this is just giving the visibility. It will show you the resources that are impacted. Yeah, weather issues, what resources are impacted. You can go. Okay. And I think that was it from the news. Yeah, it's like the people that run our blogs that are on holidays. All of our posts are back in May. I think there was one or two.
It's for the July weekend.
So,
Yeah.
but all of them are also monitoring the news.
100%.
Oh, for the July weekend. So
Did anyone have anything else that they picked up, possibly?
No, the newest one for me was the ACP metaverse.
You're going to need to join the meeting and then share your screen.
I shall do so.
You've got the invite. I the invite you have.
I hope so. I believe so. And just give me 1 second to set up this visa. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I'll share that link when I get it.
Please do.
What is it like an assessment?
I think it was like an assessment.
Okay.
Yeah.
But obviously, you're going to have to give it access to your environment.
Well, yes.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. It's cool that it does it for you, but if you get something that that you can publish in your own tenant,
Yeah, well, internally,
And-
and then you run it and it will be.
once again ring fence it, so that you know that nothing goes
I'll
outside. Because where do they go with that data?
I hear you.
So it's like the old E365 migration tool.
Yeah.
You download it, you install it, you run it.
And it gives me maybe there's something, I just saw there's some statistics. This was a while ago.
There is some stuff on there apparently. We can have a look at it. Maybe we can show some.
Yeah. Did I see it? Yes, I did. Did I use it? No, I did not.
You know what I do need,
Yeah.
is the internet. To
Well,
join the guest.
Oh, okay, yeah, join guest. We do the.
I've got the code here.
You got one there.
Yeah. For the community evening.
To join.
At the meeting. Should work.
Dankeschön.
Good.
This is scorecard and recommendations in the past.
Ek het nie gehallucinate nie.
Yeah, when did that become available? Because I haven't seen.
I'll put something on display just now.
Yeah,
So I'm trying to get my
Who's doing the
presentation done. No.
We can do that as a later.
We do
No,
that.
that's-
That's pretty. So, she's having something. That one's. Oh, so I need to, it's not going to show until
Until you share, yeah.
Okay. Oh, Mr. John, it's in here. Maybe I should just accept it.
That looks so important.
Well, that's kind of interesting.
Cool. Next page.
Interference.
Are you duplicating your screen
No, yeah, duplicate.
or extending?
No, duplicate. But there is, it's fine there. Maybe it's just like
Video.
like the video. Okay, tables not just for glasses. So what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to show you guys the and we've all been talking about the modern controls that we've launched. Yeah, it looks nice, it looks cool, but just going to take you through some of them because just to have a look inside and how you
Just change your sharing. You're sharing your presenter view.
Let's see. There we go. Better.
No. You just change the viewing presenter. So just go up at the top. Yeah, there and switch screens. Doesn't allow me.
Faces to exit and slide.
Present.
Present again.
There we go.
It doesn't like it here. Okay, so we're going to have a look at the modern table control and what it actually gives us, and the do's and don'ts, as well as some good practices, and what does it actually give us at the end of the day. That's me. No, that's not that. There we go. That's me. For those of you who can't see my video, I'm Finis Kutsia. I'm the manager of the Power Platform and Development Division for Nkurumo Solutions in Osira Business Solutions. And we specialize in building scalable, user-focused solutions in Power Apps, Power Automate, and Microsoft System. So, yeah, that's us. That is what the modern table control does look like. Why is it doing that? I think it just ran through everything for a second. Okay. So that is the modern table control over there. Just a little preview. I'm going to actually show you one in an application what I've built. And it's a flexible, responsive UI. It makes life a lot easier. If you ever use galleries to visualize data in Power Apps, we'll actually open the monitor as well, Canvas Apps, and show you how quickly it gets data and it brings it in batches. So I've got a table that's got over 5,000 records.
So does this get rid of that 200 load or 100 load thing from the
Yeah. Look, now you're still going to scroll down, but the way it actually retrieves the data and how quick it is in getting the data you don't feel it as much because that's scrolling down.
You know what hassle that caused for the people using the mobile? I had to first load everything into collection and then pop it into the gallery, so everything's loaded already. Because on a mobile app, it goes to that 100 and stops.
And then it runs again, then it does it once again, and then it loads all the controls again. But that is also a drawback of this. So, because you cannot populate, we'll get to it in the next slide, but you can't put controls in there. That's a bit of a schlep, but what it gives you is, and there are workarounds. It also currently, and we'll get to that on the cons, but anyway, the lovely thing about it is scrollable headers, right? You can sort, it's got sticky columns, and I'll show you actually how you set your columns, because obviously on the size of the screen, it starts pushing everything together. Not a lot of people know, but there's actually a pretty cool, neat trick using user-defined formulas to get those columns to be very nice and responsive. Yeah. It's got a responsive layout, very accessible. The accessibility is brilliant. And then comes with sortable columns out the box. Caveat on the sortable columns is when you apply complex filters to the gallery, you lose that functionality. Currently, the filter component on the columns, so when you click on the column, it gives you that little filter, like what you have in the wardrobe maps. That disappears if you've got more than 15 records at the moment. But yeah, there are, I'm going to show you some of those workarounds to make it a lot easier and for you at the end of the day. Pros, clean, modern link. It looks good. It's professional. And now I'm going to sit and design. I mean, we all use those lovely galleries in the Creator Kit because we didn't have to go build everything. But if you want to design something that looks like this, it's going to take you a while. It's work to keep it like that, making sure that everything is responsive, everything. The next column, that text box is there when it scales. It's perfect. This is out of the box. It's ready. It's there. It's with you. At the end of the day, it's easy to configure. Then galleries with layers. Yeah. Native support for the modern UX and designed with accessibility in mind. So, and we're going to look at it. Here are the cons. No inline editing yet. That is a very important word. Yet. Limited column customization. So, if you want to format a column, you're going to have to add a column in your filter to say add column, tag that column, then change the formatting. Whatever. Unfortunately, you have to do that. Or in database, have a column that maps it for you. So use the formula column to say that column is equal to this, and put the formatting in, and that's the one you display. And there's an absolute very cool trick I'm going to show you with this, because this also leverages the views that you have in tables, So you can set up, if you've got a certain amount, you don't want to give the user filters, but you can have a drop down with your views and it will give you that view, and you can apply those complex filters in the views, and it's your view. And that's just going to drop down. That is so cool. And you cannot add interactive buttons, but once again, caveat yet. Use for read-only tablet data. Say, don't use it as an easy as that. Bind to collections for faster performance, and that's the same with galleries. Yeah. If you want it to be fast, use a collection. pair with modern filters and slices. I'll show you. I haven't done one, but I've got to. You'll see something that looks like that. But you can do a filter on it quickly, whatever. So, filter, drop down. What was this? Keep it clean. Keeps it clean and uncluttered. Don't expect the Excel experience, which is simple.
Isn't it funny how people want us to build apps but they're not actually Excel?
Yeah.
So it's not full Excel.
Yeah. Or now this is beautiful. Can you export it to Excel? Wow.
Okay, the story of my life.
Don't mix classic and modern controls. And there's also a caveat with this. I think it's a version of your Power Apps needs to be higher than 3.2028. That's a long number.
Yeah.
For you to be able to use this. So you go if you into historic stuff and try to push it in there, it's not gonna work. Use the items property to format data before we display it. So we just add it in the filter column, that's the column, here you go, it looks pretty. So I'd like a space, I'd like the currency, then a space, then delimiter, and then leverage power X conditional visibility format. I'm going to show you that as well, because that's also pretty cool. So you can decide if a user has a certain role, you don't allow that column to be seen. I like that. That makes it so easy. And I can show to you the toolbar the same function as well.
I mean, that's just hiding the column from that.
Yeah, it just so you can apply conditions to it. What you need to be careful of as well is your view. Even if in your view, if you add let's say there's one column in the view on your model-driven side or your database side, that's not going to limit the columns in the view that you display in Power Apps. The columns that you've selected and made visible, it only applies that view's filter.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the only thing that it does there. Pair with contextual panels and pop-ups for more detail. So if you want to have, and it's got an on-select function, so you can click on it, and then make it go to the form that you want. Pairing this with and Raza did a very good video on this, I think it's a couple of months back. We're pairing the modern table control with the modern form. They work beautifully.
Okay.
They really work well with each other. And then obviously use responsive containers to make it. I mean, you've got that lovely little view where it gives you the icons on the side. And it's really nice. I'm gonna look at it now. Just open it there.
Does it work well in responsive containers?
Yeah, look, there's a lot of effort that's gone into it. And you can see it in the development. There's still some nitty-gritties that they need to sort. But I will tell you that every opportunity I have to leverage it, I leverage it. It just makes life a lot easier. And it speeds up development time. Now what is how much shoe? Again. So this side is still showing the what's his name, but that side.
In your presentation.
It doesn't allow me to.
Did you extend to the slide then? Hashtag just asking.
Actually, you're actually one of the people that I do like. It doesn't happen a lot. Not, okay, so here you go. So this has got over 5,000 records. That's a modern table control.
And with me.
It's all I've done with this. I've added it and I've made the columns, responsive. Let me show you what I did that. So firstly, on app, in app, I'm gonna user-defined formulas, and this changes the game. User-defined formulas to me is if you want to invest any time in researching and what you can do with parts at the moment, this is probably one of this. This is, it will make your development, it will speed it up and give you so much.
You have any research share with us on, because this is obviously really is power it takes, right?
Yeah.
So are there like ways to upskill on the formulas? I know we've had a few sessions on this, but other ways to do it and skill up on.
So currently, I would say the best resource to use for this is Microsoft.learn, and then there's a guy that Dennis Doolinger or something like this. He's a guy from the Netherlands, which I follow. What he does with YAML and FX is unbelievable. And those are the two places I scratching in. And then I'm also lucky that I can be dormant for all of this. So but yeah, and the whole idea behind it is you populate your formulas in there, and it's a variable you just call whenever. And the speed that this runs at, I mean, we have filters querying SQL for some customers. So that filter is built into that formula. And it just goes, and all I do is I point my gallery or my control to that formula, and it's there, it's done. So imagine you've got a table that's got 400 regions.
Yeah.
You don't want to go query it the whole time. It comes in, it's there, it's done. But if I go into my admin center and I add it in there, and it patches the SQL database, it's instantly updated in there as well, because that formula runs the entire time. Okay, so what I've done is I've set my column width, so that's my formula. Set my column width to look at the screen size of that screen. And then it's got, obviously the screen size has got an enum in it, and then I can go small. So if it's a small screen, my column width is 80. If it's a medium, 130, and so forth. Because what happens is when you start scaling your screen up, as you see, there's some real estate in between it.
Yeah.
Before it starts eating this real estate, it starts doing the little dot to show you that there's more in there. I'm going to show you.
How did you come up with the values? Is that just trial and error?
Yeah, that's yeah. So, and the nice thing about this is you can do exactly the same with your font size. So you can go font size, because remember you can set your font size here. So now you can say your font size. If it's a small screen, my font size should be, and you can apply themes. That's what makes this so powerful. So let me show you what I do. Yes. So what I do want to show tools. So it's blank, right? So there's the live monitor. Now there's 5,000 records in this table. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to sort from IT. It's going to fix the bottom ones. That's how quick it went. That's how quick it went. So sorry, there's 10,000 records. It's not 5. It shows 5,000. That's how quick it was. So let's see what the monitor tells us. 1.24 milliseconds.
Yeah.
That's how quickly it was. It ran through, it got the bottom ones. It's still done now, and I'll show you because you're gonna what's this? I'm gonna go. And we're gonna scroll down, and it loads. And it's pretty quick.
That is really quick.
It's pretty quick. Oh wow! Okay, yeah.
That's definitely a groot verskil van 'n gallery.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And let's go back here. And then you can see how, I mean, it gets quicker as it goes along.
Yeah.
So, let's see if it will show us. Where's the row count?
It's amazing.
Let's see. And it shows you that, so it does the API call, and it only goes and fetches the rows of the column that you leverage. This has always been a problem with the galleries, because the gallery a lot of the time, you would have an attachment in that row, but you're not displaying it anywhere. It goes and fetches that attachment. So what you need to do is you need to do a collection first, just that it does, and then push it into the gallery.
Exactly.
Let's see if it does the row. Shows me the row count. Start time. But it fetches around 500 rows on shot.
Right.
So it's pretty quick. So yeah, that's the first thing. So now let's see, look at the responsiveness. And that's what I like about that. So now it uses, starts with an R, I don't know what the name is, but brings the pagination in. That's automatically built into it already. And it goes and fetches the next rows for you. That's already built in. To size. See, it stays the same. What happens is, because now you bound your columns to a certain size, it creates a horizontal scroll bar. So it looks, and then obviously the thing that's already built in, and the Excel customers love this, is that we can go up there and say,
Of course.
yeah.
But this makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. So now, yeah. So
That's quite cool.
there, once again, I don't see a lot changing in it. There are some functionalities that can improve by allowing us to maybe be able to, the toggle fields, to be able to set that, have some functionality to edit it. But
Yeah, I think probably if customers start clicking with the next question, going to be, can I do inline editor? That will probably be the next requirement.
so,
Because they like having it in the Excel view.
so there,
That's the views that you.
That's my views. So I've added a drop down. That drop down works like this. So now, and you will see how quick it is, because I can literally go into the title, add a view, and that's in the drop down.
Oh, well,
Okay, so you don't need to come back and, okay, that's,
good one.
yeah.
So,
So you don't have to go refresh data source kind of.
yeah,
Choices, okay, so just table name views.
table name views, that's it. Choice of table name views, and that gives me that what's. And then what I do on the table,
You've got the views, yeah.
Why?
so it filters on the views. That's it. That's as easy as pie. Now, if I go to that table, views.
Okay.
I'm just going to take active customer. I'm going to say save as, let's call this mail customer. No preference to anything, just using it. So, now I go clear that filter, edit filter. I'm going to add a filter. Add a row. I'm going to say gender. Why can I see gender?
I see the done. And it is alphabetical.
These genders.
I thought.
Filter. So let's find something that we want to filter.
It's everybody a customer, you know.
Let's say surname. Starts with begins with B. Easy as that. And there you go. Now I'm just going to go save and publish. That's it. Now I'm gonna hit a refresh, not on the data source in the app, but even if this app is published, you add this view.
You don't need to republish that. Yeah, because it's talking to the views.
It's talking to the view. So all I do here is to make sure there, and I say hit refresh. Because obviously I'm in the studio.
Yeah.
Hit play. Now I say, oh, I want to look at B customers. So, that's not going to happen. So I just
Is there a limit to the amount?
that's a pretty cool question. I don't know.
Because maybe it limits to 5. Show you.
No. Look, I've done timers with like 30 years. They don't know us. There we go. There's a new one, and we go. So that's everybody with B. And that's it. And you can make it to say that maybe you just want, you have a drop down to employee, what I want to look at. Instead of looking for or adding a table for specific departments. You know, create departments.
Exactly.
Have you done anything that can automatically redirect a user to a specific view based on their account or their department?
No, but it would be pretty easy now
Yeah.
because you would set the default view
Yes.
on the and start using the user profile.
Yes.
Yeah. So that would be very easy.
Yes.
So now the user gets a tailor-made experience.
Yeah, 100%. Because I know that was a challenge if you use this with defaults to the one view and you can't change it.
So now you can use roles or specific criteria to say if it's a finance person, default into that. If it's an HR person, default into that. Or if it's the manager of a person, default to do that. Or if it's an employee of another person. So there's many ways to do it. But yeah. And I think that's about it on the table side. You'll see I did put the toolbar up here. And I love this. You want to do the tech tip first and then I'll do the toolbar?
No, because then we're switching backwards and forwards, so it's fine. Go through this.
All right, so let's look at the toolbar. Because it's this one black. Sorry guys, I'm taking you through this again. I should have just gone to the right slide. And then the right tool for the right job. So I'm going to show you firstly the toolbar, the way it comes out of the box. And then I'm going to show you something cool that I've done with it. Not something that I enjoy. There is toolbars and menus, whatever you want to call it, navigational panes. It's always ahead. The nice thing about this is you can push it into a component and you can duplicate it throughout your entire application, or, which is pretty cool because it's tabular data that goes in it. You can create your tabular data formula. You can just put formula into toolbar. I haven't done it that way, but I'll show you. You'll get behind adjuster, and you can just copy that in and point it to that. It's going to be exactly the same throughout the entire application. So the right tool for the right job. The nice thing about it is it's responsive. So if the screen is not big enough, it creates the overflow there, and you've got your little drop down. It gives you tool tips. This really makes life a lot easier. You do canvases. I don't know who else does canvases. It takes time to make it look good, and it's repetitive. You know, they've taken the time out of it. I mean, the amount of time that I've spent on building menus, navigation boards, is crazy. So what is the toolbar? It's a horizontal bar. It's not a horizontal bar. It's horizontal and vertical on your shapes. Configurable with buttons used for actions like save, cancel, delete, but not because you can do complex functions as well.
Yeah.
Because it works exactly the same as a button. It's got an on-select function. You can trigger anything on it. The only bad thing you can't do with it is have something else that says select button tick. Okay. So you can't go select that. But I'm sure we can if you look at the code, we can find it.
Actually, good question. On the toolbar, it's embedding
I'm going to show you that now. You'll see it on the last one. I've actually got it. I've got a little piece of code in there as well, because you can set editability. So if it's view, edit, or disable, and you can also set the visibility on it. And that's the nice thing about it. So you can make, once again, a tailor-made experience. If your role is HR, you see the following buttons. If your role is manager. You see the following buttons. And if you're an employee, you only see the certain buttons. So basic user, admin user, whatever you want to do. Think of it as the command bar for makers. Right. So features, predefined layout, standard alignment. That's, with that said, that can also be a double-edged sword because we'll have customers who say, "I want you to have a look like this." The nice thing about it is it looks like something that's built in a Microsoft suite.
Yeah.
It is familiar to users. It makes them feel comfortable. So I will tell you, I've had a lot of people look at it, and I've not had any pushback. So add and edit buttons, the customizable icons. I'm going to show you what I did with it, with the icons and visibility. So you've got the enable state that you can style and set. And, oh, sorry, my rock spider just my rock spider just popped through. And then integrates with modern pages layout, and it's very responsive. And it's theme aligned, so you can set your theme on it. And not such. I'm getting into the theme thing. It's not really like freedom, you know. So I'm getting into the.
Oh, it's slightly just not the right color.
That's not what I want. So, but yeah, customizable themes. I mean, that you can do that as well. And then quick to implement. That to me was a game changer. Because building menus and repeating it all just drove me crazy. Clean and modern, standardized actions, works perfectly on a modern layout, accessible and responsive. Easy as that. The cons to it, or the limitations, limited styling options. We spoke about that. Horizontal orientation, not anymore. It is vertical now as well. So cannot embed in custom controls. So you can't put custom controls inside. You can put drop down inside it.
But that makes sense.
Give it time. Give it time. So dynamic spacing and stacking. It's pretty rigid there. Even though, but you know, you want something that's responsive. It still looks good. It still presents well, and for functions, you have to. There's a trade-off. And backward compatibility. So once again, it's 3.2048.
5.
Something like that.
Yeah, a recently updated applicant.
A recent, so it works with recent applications. So there you go. That's what that is in a strong button. Yeah, I'll go back there. Okay. So that is what we were talking about.
Yeah.
An admin. Yeah. Display modes, all those things. Okay. Do's and don'ts. I'm going to show you now. I'm going to look. To me, I'm sold on it already. I'm utilizing it. DGO yet, but I'm using it.
Sorry, no bubble.
So, yeah. So use it for standard actions, cancel, delete, those type of things. Submit my form, refresh the form, you know, open my filter, those type of things. You do get requests to make it more, and you can do that. You can do that. And if it's something that's complex, what I would recommend is to let it trigger a form.
Yeah.
Just let it trigger a form. Easy as that. Use the icons to reduce the clutter. Keep the buttons and the labels short and sweet. There is one that I've made long on purpose so that you can see the effect that it has. And then pair with modern form layouts. Once again, it's beautifully. I'm going to show you how it works. Now, works beautifully. Don't overload it. Don't put in too many actions in it. Once again, workaround on that is just go defining formulas in user defined formulas in an app function, and you sort it. So easy as that. Do not use classic app. Do not use classic. Avoid using inputs. It's not an input.
Why would you use inputs? What would the use case be around?
Well, I don't know. Maybe you'll have a search function in there. You know.
Okay, yes, yeah, you want to type.
Yeah, but yeah, gotta do it.
So if you have it above the table, you would ask for drop down filters.
Yeah,
Then
okay,
toolbar.
yes, yeah.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah. And then when you see that, use a formula. I dig it. But yeah, use context variables or flags to enable and decide the buttons. Style-based apps. Use conditional visibility for roles, etc. Delete. So just spoke about that. You know, everything that's in there we just spoke about. Let me show you. I think that's the easiest one. So in slideshow. The slideshow. That's a toolbar. I'm going to show you the code behind it now. But so here's an idea. Here's what I was speaking about the pop-ups. Click on the filter, brings in the filter there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that we're just using
It's a container.
visibility
Yeah,
box.
so I set up William and
Yeah.
so let me show you the code. And that's going to make the easiest. It doesn't look like this when you put the toolbar in. When I put a toolbar in, it doesn't look like that. The first thing that you hit is this button here. Pull this button here, it says format text. Because it's all in one line. So yeah, it's all in one line. So and these first four that you see is the default ones you get out of the box.
Okay.
So and what they try to do with that is you'll see some of their items are different. Some of the records within them are different. So they're trying to indicate to you what you can do with each item. And if you look at this one, this one's got has the appearance setting, so it works exactly like the button function that you have, primary or subtle. So to make the way you want to make your button. And then you have your icon style, which is either regular or full. So you can invert the two. And then it works on a key. So everything has a unique key. Please make that key unique. Because otherwise you're going to trigger two buttons when you click on it.
Okay.
And then what happens is it uses, it's so simple. And you know what's the funny thing is, I actually built in a gallery something very similar a long time ago. Uses the switch function, and then it triggers your key.
Like, no way.
Yeah. So that fluid, beautiful looking control is only, so you can leverage this idea and go build your own with the gallery at the end of the day. So, and you can make it look the way you want if you want to use control, drop downs and interactiveness, all those stuff. And all it does is it just triggers like that, and then it's like, if new, trigger that. If new, next page, trigger that. Easy as that. Now let me show you what I've done.
Okay, so there's your fault.
So I'm going to click on support page.
Let's navigate.
Now look at this menu on the side. Now think to yourself how long it would have taken you to build this in a canvas app.
Yeah.
Now you can see what it does. It's got your tool tips are in there already. And the moment I click this,
Oh, cool.
that's a toolbar. Easy as that's done. I can go, I want to do a food. I'm at home now. Okay. So I can go and actually reset my form. I want to submit my form. Now, submit it now. On new form. I know. So
That streamlines things.
I know, right?
just
Okay.
makes it so, and it keeps it, gives you structure, it just keeps it all the same.
I like
And
wait. I like it. This is very nice.
we show
And it's the same, yeah, items. Okay.
Yeah.
I said, that's why you said earlier it's a horizontal bar.
Yeah.
But
Now it's
just
No.
the layouts.
no, this is something that's fairly new, is there's your alignment.
Okay.
So now you can change it like that. So this is, I've been playing with toolbars for about a month. And you could never do that. And then yesterday night when I started building the app to do this, I'm like, wait. So it's there.
You saw this yesterday.
Yeah, I saw this yesterday. But once again, so you reach all the icons you have in the icon control. So you tell them exactly what is so there. Icon name, arrow reset, all the icons you have there, you can reach that. And there's more than what you can see in that control. Yeah. A lot. There's your item disabled. So you can set that on a condition.
Okay, yes, you can use it.
Yeah. You can do that on a user profile, on a context variable, whatever. You can set visibility, you can set color, you can set, I want this a primary button and I don't want this. For some users, you want this, you want to set focus on this, so you make these primary buttons. You make the other one separate. And then, I mean, this I've now paired with a form, and I've done this basic, guys. Really, really basic. There you go. I mean, submit, that's the key, triggers on the switch statement. And then, yeah. And then you can obviously go do whatever you want there, reset your form, submit your form. You can write patches, or you can be very clever and put it in the formula property of the app, and then just trigger that formula. Then, because you don't want to put complex stuff in here, because on every page you're going to have to repeat it.
Yes.
So now you can design it once, copy and paste it, and it just triggers.
Okay, so you'll have a separate formula with the switch for each one, and then you
User
just reference that.
formula is going to changes the way you build applications. You will have a button, and all you're going to say,
I think we need a formula.
yeah. Well, they asked me now, so what resource do I use to figure these formulas out and stuff? And I said, don't. So,
He's not on the call.
yeah,
I think we just nominated him to do something.
we can, yeah, he's, yeah.
Someone that sits there and thinks of the darkest ways to get things right.
He just, his natural thinking is,
Yeah, that's amazing.
he's on a different plane.
Shape.
Yeah, but anyway, so, but yeah, because how many times in an application do you repeat yourself?
Yeah.
And that's something that I've learned, it's been from Mr. Paniera, is that put everything central, because that's where bugs come.
Yes, absolutely, because you miss a little bit different on this one, you make a slight change here.
So centralize it in the formula, button just triggers the formula. Easy as that. So yeah,
Yeah,
guys, that's me. I'm done.
fire,
Awesome, man.
cool.
Thank you.
know it was two simple things, but hopefully I gave you some insight into something else.
There is beauty.
All the limits of my battery right now. Hopefully this will work.
Jonathan, are you ever going to renovate the auditorium? I'm just thinking, are they going to have it just so that I can also stand behind one of those?
Or we're going to give you a little step you could use.
So there's a milk crate outside. But I mean, in the old days, if you were having a speech in the middle of the street, you stood on a box.
I'll have you, I'll stand on the back.
So really pushing this, I think I've got 20% battery there.
One
Slots.
power bank.
It's a circus. 20% battery means you can go another week.
No, this one goes very quickly.
Blink and it goes. I've got a power bank for you. If it takes USB-C.
I've got my charge, actually, let me just plug it in last two.
That's amazing.
What is the battery life on that?
On this one, probably about 4 hours, 3-4 hours.
It's still good, huh?
Yeah, it's a monster machine. I mean, it's got a NVIDIA 4060 in it.
Oh. Then you should be glad for 4 hours.
Yeah.
This one gives me 40 minutes.
Save. Exit.
That's a battery pack. It's just too big to carry around.
This is how we do things here. Benny asked about secure score in.
It's all up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, I actually know where to find it now.
exactly.
So, Power Platform Admin Center, go to the security portion. You've got secure score directly there. You can see your points. You've got all of your recommendations, highlights from there. Things that have been discussed.
To an extent, is that, is that Power Platform environment recommendations or is that app recommendation?
No, this is the environment. So, holistically,
So my thinking is
yeah, so
app
this-
recommendations.
yeah, I think from an app recommendation, there is that assessment tool. Yeah, that you saw. So you can look at the applications themselves.
Really take a
But this will at least give you some visibility on it. So we can look at the
So
settings.
that's going to give us the
Yeah.
environment. I'll chat to you. I know exactly why you're talking about this. And this
Yeah.
is because remember, this looks at your Power Platform environment. Now, if you have an environment that runs SQL, your data is leveraged out of SQL or SharePoint or wherever, it's not looking at that. It's only looking at what you're exposing into the PA.
Yes. Yeah.
Things like, for instance, if you set up an app, you've created an app and it's set up to look at a certain data set. How are you managing the rights to that data set or who's allowed to access that data set? Things like that, things that.
Yeah. So, like, are you using a account impersonation or something for that? Are you? Because I've started to see some of that stuff coming through in Copilot Studio now. So now we'll make it very clear, like specifically on that portion, where if you go and configure the Copilot also as the authenticator for that trigger or that connector, we warn you like multiple times as you're going through lots of flags out there.
Which we do in a lot of the flows we do.
Loads as well, yeah. So I think from that perspective, but from an app perspective, I think the assessment tool probably.
And like, it's awesome in the sense of it, you can specify certain ways that you allow, for example, authentication or whatever the case may be. And if someone tries to build an app that doesn't conform, say sorry.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting to see. I've got an actual project coming up on deploying a COE at a customer. I want to try out some of these ideas.
We started outside now.
Yeah.
And we're saying that as a standard, what we do now, as part of the first app, we deal with the client, they want to do an app. As part of the first recommendation we do, say, environment setup, which includes theory.
Okay, so you guys are deploying this year.
Yeah, we're deploying.
What blows my mind is how many large organizations still don't have this year. I was busy with one of our big banks recently, today, and they're still starting out on this journey.
And the problem is when you've got a heap of apps already deployed, it makes it harder.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So if you like, you're just going on this journey now, you just can't go, let's deploy it now, because then going forward.
What is this? I'll never look at this.
What risk is this now?
Okay, so you can see environments, groups, environments themselves. So okay. So from an administrative perspective, it's giving you that insight. Okay. Perfect. Anything else from anyone?
Sector.
Who's doing the texting?
That's what.
This is not the text. Yes, so. Did you not hear? This is the way we do it.
Yes, your team. I was for you.
You see, John, I carry the team.
The MVP of JoziPUG.
And you're MVP.
Awesome, everyone. See you all next time. Uploading the videos to YouTube. I still need to do last month's one. I'll get that uploaded in the next week.
Awesome sauce.
Perfect.
And you're Jonathan.
Awesome.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
We should stop taking those videos in meeting as well.
Yes.
Yeah, and start sharing it so the guys can see what the experience is.
I know.